Chapter 4. Reflections on Nature.
Arlo and Buck pushed through the thick brush, their eyes darting around in search of any potential obstacles. Arlo's small stature was no match for the fierce determination inside him, fueled by the presence of his loyal companion by his side. With each challenge they encountered, Buck's shaggy coat seemed to puff up with pride as he defended his young friend.
The duo had been exploring the magical world around the hidden lake for hours. Along the way, they'd encountered all sorts of fantastical creatures and hidden treasures, each discovery more incredible than the last. But as they trekked deeper into the forest, the challenges grew more formidable.
The path became increasingly narrow and winding, with brambles and dense foliage obstructing their way. Arlo struggled to keep up with Buck's pace as they trudged forward, determined to reach their destination no matter what.
As they pushed further along the path, a sudden rustling in the bushes ahead caught their attention. Buck barked defensively, ready to protect his friend from whatever creature might be lurking in the underbrush. But as the rustling grew louder, it became clear that it wasn't a wild animal causing the disturbance. Instead, a group of mischievous fairies emerged from the foliage, giggling and chattering amongst themselves. Arlo and Buck breathed a sigh of relief at the sight of these friendly creatures. The fairies welcomed them with open arms, guiding them through the narrow path and pointing out potential dangers along the way. As they traveled further into the forest, Arlo and Buck faced obstacle after obstacle. They climbed over fallen trees and boulders, waded through streams and marshes, and braved harsh winds and torrential rainfall. But through it all, their bond remained unbreakable. Holding on to each other tightly, they faced every challenge head-on with unwavering determination. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity of wandering, they reached their destination. Before them stood a towering waterfall, its cascading waters glittering in the sunlight. Arlo and Buck gazed in wonder at the sight before them, both knowing that this was just the beginning of their adventures in this magical world. With each challenge they faced, their bond grew stronger and their determination more unyielding. Together, they were an unstoppable force, ready to take on anything that stood in their path. Arlo and Buck walked side by side, their spirits high and their hearts full of wonder. The sun was setting behind them, casting a warm orange glow over the landscape, painting the sky in shades of pink and purple. They had just returned from their grand adventure, having explored every nook and cranny of the magical lake and the surrounding forests.
Arlo felt a sense of accomplishment that he had never experienced before. He had always been a curious child who loved to explore new places, but this journey had been different. It had been an adventure full of surprises and challenges that had pushed him to his limits. He had faced danger with Buck by his side, and they had overcome every obstacle together. Arlo was bursting with stories to tell his friends and family about the magical creatures they had met and the hidden treasures they had found.
Buck was content to walk beside Arlo, keeping a watchful eye on his young companion. He knew that Arlo was safe now that they were back home, but he still felt a sense of responsibility for his well-being. He had seen firsthand the determination and courage that Arlo possessed during their journey, and he knew that his loyalty to his young friend had helped keep them both safe. As they walked, Arlo and Buck noticed things they had never paid attention to before. They saw the beauty in the world around them in a new way, the way the leaves rustled in the wind, the way the birds sang in the trees, and the way the sunset colored everything in a warm glow. They felt grateful for everything they had experienced on their adventure, and they knew that it had changed them both forever. Arlo turned to Buck with a grin on his face. "We did it, Buck. We explored every inch of that lake." Buck wagged his tail and barked happily. He knew how proud Arlo was of their achievement, and he was happy to have been a part of it. Arlo looked up at the sky, marveling at the beauty of the sunset. "I never knew how much there was to discover in the world, Buck. I can't wait to see what else is out there."
Buck barked in agreement, knowing that there was always more to explore and discover in the world. As they walked home, Arlo and Buck felt a deeper appreciation for the magic and beauty of the world around them, and they knew that they would always be ready for their next adventure.
The end.